Hi, so we are going to create a major gift through its entire business process or its life cycle. Um, so uh, Typically at the beginning of the fiscal year, at the beginning of the annual campaign, or whatever campaign it is, major gifts campaign, I usually do a thing where I have a whole bunch of prospects in a spreadsheet, and then I actually import that spreadsheet into Salesforce. So I kind of do it all at once, but I'll show you what it looks like to come up with a major gift through its cycle, through its full life cycle, just in Salesforce without going through like mass creating major gifts. So I typically will consider um, those households or businesses that I know have the capacity. Now I can look at the um, the accounts, and I don't have enough data already preloaded in here, but let's just say that Miles Davis is a major donor. I look at the Davis household. Of course, right now there's only 20, total gifts is 25, but let's say they've been giving, you know, $5,000 a year. What we'll see when we go down to the donor information is that we'll see, like, look, last gift date, largest gift date. Maybe their largest gift date was $25,000, but maybe it was 5 years ago. You'll see total gifts last year, total gifts this year. All of this tells me what kind of giving patterns they have. And so I'm just going to pretend in this case that this is a major donor. So, like I said in the last video, I am not going to create the donation or the opportunity, the major gift, through the contact. I'm going to make it through the household, because usually major gifts are made, at least I like to think that they're sort of done thoughtfully between household members. So I'm going to go ahead and in the household account record, I'm going to go ahead and hit new donation. Um, and I'm going to start with a prospecting donation of $10,000. And this I'm going to put into the COVID emergency campaign. Okay, so we've seen this before, right? But here's the thing that's a little different. I'm going to go ahead and go to that new opportunity that's a major gift. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the record type for our keeping here. I'm going to change it to a major gift. In the future, when we have, if we have our own system, then we would have this configured in a way where I wouldn't have to do this. So this is a little bit of an extra step. All it's doing is forcing me to do, kind of go through all the information over again, which is fine. So here we are. Now this is a major gift. We can set up the naming conventions to where this would be Davis household major gift, and then the date or fiscal year, whatever we want, really. It really is like as customizable as we want. Okay. Um, so this is the cool thing. With the major gift, we have these interesting stages. So as you can see, my stage here is prospecting, but with a major gift, we have special kinds of stages. So let's say the Davis household, it really is actually totally brand new to CCC. I'm going to set that my first meeting with that person um, around, their philanthropy to identification. I'm going to mark that as the current stage. Now, let's say I go and I have a meeting with them, or I do some research, let's say, and I qualified through the research, and through that first meeting, they've showed a lot of interest in us. I've sort of built the preliminary conversation, and then through research, through wealth screening, I've also found that they actually have a really high capacity. So I learned that their typical capacity really could be $10,000. So now I've qualified this gift. Okay, so now I'm going to say this really is a gift that we could go and qualify. But the first thing, or ask. So the first thing that I need to do is actually set up a meeting with them, and I might want to talk to them about the COVID emergency campaign. So usually there are other things here, but I would do like a log a call and I'd create a meeting. Although I could create an email in this case. This is going to go through my CCC email. I'm going to put, this is going to be Miles Davis. It's not showing up because I didn't enter a phony email address in here, so it's automatically, it's not going to pull up contacts that don't have email addresses. So that's a nice little protective thing. But I would say, like, let's get together, and then maybe schedule a meeting, and have some nicely written stuff. Now I could have a template for this kind of thing already set up, and I could choose that, and I'd have to insert a template. Let's see if they have any out of the box. Nah, they don't. Okay, but anyways, you would have an email template, and then you'd hit send. So it works just like email. It actually is email. It's coming from our email address, but it's actually going to be tracked under here, under past activity, once it goes out. We can also set up events, any kind of thing like that. So let's just say I meet with the person, I find out more about their interest, and then I involve them in something that we're doing. I might change the stage of this opportunity to cultivation. So now it's time to go ahead and ask them for a gift. Let's say I set up a final meeting where I asked them for this $10,000 gift. The cultivation meeting was like some way I involved them at a little cultivation event, like maybe a wine tasting or something like that. But this one is going to be like there would be a little box here or tab here that says events, and I would click it, and it would be a one-on-one meeting. I would record that. It would now show up in past activities. It could also show up in future activities, and I would have a reminder. I'm not going to get into that kind of functionality today, but it is pretty awesome what we can do in Salesforce. So let's say that I have now made the ask. I'm gonna set that down. When I talk to the donor, I say, okay, would you consider this? They say, okay, let me think about it. I got to talk to my accountant. Okay. A week goes by. I could say that if there was a broader proposal, and this is where you kind of get into more grant writing. Let's say they have a family foundation. I could do it. I could do this. I don't typically use this one for this feature for major gifts, and so I would remove it. But then let's say Miles Davis calls me and says, hey, we're going to do this. So I'll say, that's awesome. Thank you so much for your kindness and generosity and your thoughtfulness about, people without homes in Portland, Oregon. Okay. So now we're just waiting for that check to come in. Miles has said that the check's he's putting it in the mail, or his accountant's putting it in the mail. We should expect it next week. Okay, week goes by, the check finally does come in. Someone on our team has the check in hand, or a copy of it, or however it works. And now we can actually say, yes, this check came in. We will have a check number field here, as well as, a thing to show that it was a check. And then we can close that check. So now it's closed. And it's asking us what kind of closed status. We just posted. And there we go. That is how you see the life cycle of a major gift. And I had kind of briefly touched on some of the other functionality of major donor work, especially around activity. But let's say Miles Davis was actually a personal friend of Rachel Solotaroff, sorry, thinking of someone else, or Juliana. In that case, we would have a chatter where I could mention Juliana or Rachel in here and say, hey, what's going on with Miles? Is it all right for me to contact him about setting up a lunch date for Rachel? Um, and we can have this sort of internal chatter that doesn't require us to email or anything like that. Kind of works a little bit like what Teams does, but it's inside Salesforce. So now we've got internal chatter around the gift. We also have our activity, including what's upcoming or overdue and what's in the past. We would be able to create past actions, upcoming actions, events, email, as you can see. So all of those kind of activities. This is actually what moves management is all about. You guys have heard me talk about this. The moves are the activities, the things that we do on an opportunity to bring it from identification all the way to a commitment. Okay, that's moves management.